We, at Chillify, have always aimed to create videos that help you share knowledge and develop yourselves. If you're someone who follows and watches our videos, I'm confident you're a curious and eager learner. If that's true, then today's video might capture your attention. On the path to success, learning and acquiring knowledge are absolutely essential. When we talk about learning, we often wonder two things. First, does doing more work always lead to greater success? Second, does greater pressure lead to faster success? The first question has been widely discussed, with many insightful lessons shared. You can delve deeper into books like Do and Tin, Likely Deep Work or Similar, and The Art of Pursuing Minimalism. However, the second question is rarely addressed. So today, we'll explore that question together using the book Peak Performance by authors Brad Stulberg and Steve Magness. This book has a Vietnamese translation titled Phong Du Cuc Din. I've only read the original, so please bear with me if some terms in my sharing don't perfectly match the translated version, though I'm sure the core ideas will be equivalent. Now, let's begin. Imagine the office of a design company in the Netherlands. Ropes are tied to their desks, and promptly at 6 p.m., regardless of what employees are doing, their desks are immediately pulled up to the ceiling, forcing everyone to stop work instantly. Yet, when we were young, we were taught to work harder, that diligence compensates for lack of intelligence. Society encourages, even compels us to strive, believing it leads to success. We hear stories of successful leaders waking early every day, sleeping only 4-5 hours. The scariest thought is the fear that if you don't push yourself harder, you'll fall behind. With so many talented people out there working even harder than you, what right do you have to rest? In this race for competence, rest is equated with falling behind. But is that truly the case? The two authors of Peak Performance use their own stories to provide the exact answer. Brad, a former expert in physical science, was hailed as a prodigy in his youth. He could work 70 hours a week and achieved outstanding results, even being invited to speak at the White House about his research at just 24. Steve was a coach for top long-distance runners, with many of his students participating in the Olympics, and he himself once held national records. Both men shared a common trait: clear goals, a willingness to tackle challenges, and an incredible work ethic. However, while young, they set many records, but later, their achievements plateaued. Why? There's a classic saying, "Form is temporary, class is permanent." This is often used in sports, but I believe it's largely a motivational phrase for athletes experiencing a dip in performance. In reality, if you can't maintain your form, how can you build lasting class? The Vietnamese national football team has experienced periods of declining performance, partly because our players felt immense pressure before matches. They might have trained incredibly hard, but on game day, they couldn't perform to their full potential. Rafael Nadal, considered one of the greatest tennis players of all time, still maintains peak performance at 35. In many interviews, he attributes this to his consistent training and *appropriate rest regimen. Similarly, you'll notice that the harder you try at some things, the more you fail. During college entrance exams, many students could easily solve practice problems on normal days, but on the actual exam day, the pressure of the test made them want to try harder, study more, only to perform worse than those who knew how to rest and relax before the exam. Or in life, you start your career full of enthusiasm, dreams, and aspirations, working with great fervor. But over time, increasing work pressure wears you down and your performance declines. The harder you work, the worse the results become, and you feel drained. The authors of this book point out that they, and you, are making a common mistake, one many people in this modern era fall into: constant pressure leading to fatigue and burnout. This realization was precisely why they recognized the problem and set out to write this book. The authors started from their own experiences, seeking an answer to the question, how do successful people sustain their performance? Through years of research involving athletes and intellectual workers, they unveiled a breakthrough formula: pressure plus rest equals growth *. If I were to explain this formula in one sentence, I'd say, life is like a marathon. You must know how to adjust your pace and when to stop and rest at the right time. Learn to balance appropriate training and rest to bring your body and mind back to peak condition. In short, this book teaches you how to correctly apply the balance between pressure and rest to maintain peak performance over the long term. I believe this formula is the core content of the entire book. Next, I'll share 2 points to help you quickly apply this formula to your life. Part 1, what kind of pressure is beneficial? Part 2, recovering performance through proper rest. Although the methods in this section are quite simple, they are worth deep consideration. Please listen to the end. First, let's talk about pressure. What are the consequences of excessive pressure? For many, temporary pressure is nothing, but if it's constant, it will cause prolonged stress, leading to various health and psychological problems, stress, insomnia, cardiovascular diseases, or affecting your physical well-being. You could easily fall into a deadly cycle. You might think that if the pressure is too much, you can just switch to a different job. This might be effective, but be careful. The root cause of the pressure might not be the job itself, but how you perceive your work environment and your colleagues. I call this a virtual competition environment. Why virtual? Because in reality, there might not be any open competition, but when you see your colleagues or peers seemingly working hard and achieving many successes, you subconsciously become anxious and don't allow yourself to rest, leading to pressure and falling into that deadly cycle again. There's a very true saying, our effort isn't to surpass others, but to surpass ourselves. Besides focusing on your own career, you also need to know how to adjust your own pace, rather than constantly trying to catch up with others. Excessive pressure will put you at risk of health damage, but too little pressure won't help you succeed either. Let me elaborate a bit on the true meaning behind this formula. It's not that we only rest when there's work pressure. Rather, when there's pressure, we must know how to adjust that pressure and then add appropriate rest. In this formula, the most important step is to adjust the pressure first. As I've said before in the book, Deep Work, or similar book, what truly makes you excel and enjoy your work is a task with an appropriate level of difficulty for you. That means it should have a moderate amount of pressure. It shouldn't be so overwhelming that it discourages you and makes you want to give up, nor should it be so easy that it causes no pressure, leading to boredom and hindering your development. So, when adjusting pressure, you need to balance the tasks and goals of your work. The best way is to adjust the scope. If it's too easy, broaden the scope. If it's too difficult, narrow it, which means breaking it into smaller goals. For example, if you want to lose weight, start with 15 minutes of exercise each day, then gradually increase it. Or for learning English, start with 20 words a day, then gradually more. Reading a book can start with 1 page a day, then challenge yourself to read more and faster. The process of overcoming these challenges might be uncomfortable, but once you step out of your comfort zone, you will make continuous progress. Second, to develop yourself, pressure is indispensable, but if you want long-term progress or breakthroughs, you must also know how to combine it with proper rest. In the 1940s and 1950s, runners believed no one could run a mile in under 4 minutes. But then, a man named Roger broke that record. Interestingly, for 2 weeks before the race, he didn't engage in any high-intensity running training. Instead, he relaxed with friends and simply rested every 3 days. When asked about his secret to success, he replied that one must have the courage to rest. Indeed, in today's world, what we need is the courage to stop and allow our bodies and minds to truly relax. The authors offer the following methods for rest. 1. Intermittent breaks. For example, you can divide your work into smaller tasks. After every 50-90 minutes, take a 5-10 minute break to relax. 2. Extended rest after high-pressure periods. After completing a high-pressure task, you should schedule time for complete relaxation, such as traveling or going out. Both authors arrange their schedules so that after a week of intense research focus, they would rest completely on the weekend, which helped them be even more effective the following week. 3. Temporary detachment and relaxation. Asterisk in our brains, there's an area that remains active even during sleep. The subconscious. All human creative ideas originate from this area. Consider if you always get good ideas when you're showering or walking, moments when you are completely relaxed. If you're struggling with a difficult task, staring at your computer for hours with a mental block, boldly stand up, allow yourself to temporarily forget everything, go for a walk outside, or do a small workout. Often, during this time, ideas will flow in. 4. Most importantly, prioritize your sleep. Insufficient sleep can devastate your body and severely impact your work efficiency. Many famous productivity books demonstrate that less sleep reduces productivity. Succeeding with Productivity, or a similar title, also mentions that sleeping 1 hour less reduces work productivity by 2 hours. It seems many people have grown accustomed to years of sleep deprivation, leading to fatigue during the day, which then extends into the night, resulting in late sleep, more sleep deprivation, and so on. We might feel like we've lived for over 20 years, but perhaps we're just repeating the same year 20 times. So, how to sleep correctly? How to achieve quality sleep? This is not merely a natural phenomenon. I will delve deeper into sleep in my next video, through the lens of science, inspired by the book, Why We Sleep. If you're concerned about sleep deprivation and want to improve your sleep quality to enhance your life, this will be a very worthwhile book to read. This has been the full content I wanted to share today.